This episode of The Edge is brought to you by Audible.com, offering more than 180,000 titles for smartphone, tablet, and desktop. To get a free audiobook of your choice and help Trek.fm at the same time, visit audibletrial.com/trekfm. And also by Enterprise in Space, an international program of the nonprofit National Space Society. Find out how you can help science and education and become a virtual crew member aboard the NSS Enterprise Orbiter by visiting enterpriseinspace.org. And if you want to join the conversation and share your thoughts on this episode, join the Babel Conference, our listeners group on Facebook. Just type BABEL into the Facebook search field. We look forward to seeing you there.
You're listening to Trek FM.
What have you done out there on the edge of Federation space?
Welcome, listeners, to Postcards from the Edge. I'm your host, Christopher D. Littlefield. With me this week is Brandi Jackola. Brandi, thanks for coming on Postcards again.
I'm so happy to be here. So happy. I love doing this.
I'm so happy you're here, too. And this is the second time you've been on during the short treks.
Yes. Are you all jealous? You should be.
It's my show, so it's my choice. I can do what I want.
Yes, you can. And that is the beauty of it.
Yeah, plus we had a really good time the first time. And I know that you're really good at going back and forth between two different subjects because we have two different short treks to talk about.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
And that's probably why there are more comments and the comments are longer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also in the middle of the holiday season, and you've got for the listeners, you've got a Christmas sweater on, a holiday sweater that says Christmas is coming with a dragon on it.
Yeah, you can also see at the top, well, you can't see it, but I'm sure you'll take a screenshot of us before this is over.
That's happening.
Got wolves at the top for House Stark, because it's basically a Game of Thrones themed Christmas sweater.
Right.
So,
that's great.
Yeah. It actually had little bits in it that were light up when you moved, and there were 3 of them, and I dug those out. That was annoying.
Yeah. I've only seen the first episode of Game of Thrones.
That's fine. Nobody has to like
watching.
Game of Thrones. People can like or not watch or whatever they want. I just liked the sweater. I did enjoy the series mostly. So.
My boyfriend Nate says, "Don't waste my time now that I've only seen the first episode," which kind of makes me want to watch it. He was just like, "Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time."
Yeah, that's fine.
So, I don't know.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's just the nature of all things. It's not for everybody. That's different strokes for different folks.
That's true. What do you have planned because today's the first day of your vacation?
It is.
So what do you got going on?
Not a whole lot because that's how I want it. But tomorrow, as of this recording, we are going to see Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker at 8:40 in the morning.
Oh my gosh. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, I want to get there before all the kids because there are a lot of kids in the state of Utah. A lot.
Why is that?
A lot. Mormons breed like rabbits. That's why.
Oh,
God. So they're kind of like Catholics in that regard. So yeah.
No offense, Mormon and Catholic listeners.
None at all. I grew up in the LDS church, so it's I can say what I want from the inside.
My mom did too.
Because I've been on the inside of that. So, but yeah, we're going at 8:40 in the morning because A, I wanted those luxury seats, and that's the only showing that was left that still had them. And B, you will never see kids in a movie theater at 8:40 in the morning because parents cannot get kids up and fed and ready and out the door by that time. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that sounds nice. I'm going at 1 p.m. on Christmas Day.
Ooh, Christmas movie.
Yeah, Christmas movie. It'll be nice. I don't have much planned either this holiday. I kind of want to chill as well.
Yeah, chill is nice, and having no real responsibilities. because I got a lot of shows to catch up on, quite frankly.
I know, me too.
Books to read.
I have got to watch the 3rd season of Maisel.
Yep, I haven't yet either.
I have to catch up on The Mandalorian.
Dude, that is not hard.
I know, but I'm just behind. I just saw Amy Sedaris finally. Spoiler alert.
Dude. No.
Yeah. So I'm a few episodes behind.
Alert.
Yeah.
Well,
but people, whatever.
For the length of a feature-length film, you can catch up on the rest of those episodes. It will not be difficult. Yeah. And generally, the way I feel about those is that when the credits come up, I'm like, no! Because I want more. So.
Yeah.
It's just me.
It's pretty great.
We're not here to talk about Star Wars. Sorry, guys.
We're not. Today, we're here to talk about the fan response to the first animated Star Trek we've had in exactly 45 years and 2 months to the day. The new short treks, The Girl Who Made the Stars and Ephraim and Dot. Yeah, I looked up the date for the last animated series episode, and it's exactly 45 years and 2 months to the day that the last one aired.
Crazy. That's
right?
crazy.
That's older than me.
Well, it's not older than me.
By 3 years. I just turned 42 this week.
Yes, you're the answer to the meaning of life, the universe, and everything.
That's exactly right.
For a whole year.
Just like the girl who made the stars.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm basically the girl who made the stars.
Yes, and rightly so.
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. Listeners, if you'd like to participate and share your response, please post your comments on the Babel Conference, our listeners group on Facebook. Type BABEL into the search field and it will come right up. We'll create a special Postcards discussion thread right before each new Star Trek episode. Leave your comments and they just might get read on the air. Brandi, as you said, we had a lot of comments this time, and as of this recording, we have 106 comments, which is a 152.38% increase from our last episode. Listeners, keep those comments coming because we love your feedback. Please keep in mind that comments might be edited for time. We did have a lot of lengthy ones this time. People had a lot to say about the cartoons.
Don't call them cartoons.
Cartoons. Okay. The animated shorts. Excuse me.
Well, cartoons has this kind of negative, childish connotation to it, whereas the actual animation process is very advanced and complex and detail-oriented and takes so much effort and time that I feel like calling it a cartoon is really actually a little bit demeaning because I don't think people understand the level of work that goes into something like this. All
right, I'll stick to the Brandi approved terminology from now on. I apologize if I offended anyone.
No, don't apologize. That's just my personal feeling. It's not a rule for everybody. Gosh.
No, I think you're right. You're right.
I usually am.
Oh.
Sorry.
I can't really argue with that. I mean,
no, I'm not always. Not always.
Not always, but quite often.
A lot, yeah.
Well, we could just keep going off into these non sequiturs and tangents, but we should get down to what we're here for, shouldn't we?
So much to get through, so much.
So, Brandi, hit it.
All right. Brian Yates says, really enjoyed Ephraim and Dot. The mini journey it took us through TOS and how Dot aided Ephraim at the end. Some of the sound effects for Dot reminded me of the Jetsons. I agree, actually.
Yeah, I didn't notice that until I just watched it a few minutes before we started recording, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's so... The first sound that the Dot makes is so Jetsons.
It very much is.
Bing,
it was
bing.
a nice little...
It's like Rosie's or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Rosie's little
absolutely.
thing. Yeah. It was Rosie was the maid
the
robot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Alan Neville, who I think is a first-time commenter, so thank you for your comment, Alan. New time commenter. That's that's what you get. Anyway, Alan says, fun and terrific homage to the original series.
Agree.
Sure was. I counted, I think it was like 8 episodes and a couple films that they referenced. I could be off, but just, in passing, I counted, and that's what it seemed like.
Yes, that pretty much was my count as well. Although I would have to watch it several more times to be absolutely certain of that.
Yeah.
And, sit there with the one hand on the pause button and the other holding a pen. Right.
Starting with the salt sucker monster thing.
Yeah,
right?
the M113 monster, yes.
That's what it was. The man trap, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
Also known as McCoy's love.
Yeah, kind of.
Not quite.
Funny how that works. It's like you don't ever think of him as having relationships with women.
Oh, McCoy?
Yeah, no, I mean, that McCoy, okay? It just doesn't occur to any of us, I don't think. It's just like, oh, he has a past history.
Yeah, he's
with
a man.
Women.
He has needs. He has a heart.
Yeah, but you don't really ever see him doing anything. Probably because it's just, he's just so disgusted by Jim. Always just like, it's like, what is it with you?
Right. He's just a country doctor.
Yeah, he's just a country doctor. He likes saying something.
He has needs too, though.
We all do. We all have needs. Okay, Ian David says, I loved all the TOS references in Ephraim and Dot. The animation was beautiful. I'm not sure how no one found those eggs during the refit, but it was a fun episode. I think Michael's tardigrade Teddy is a sign of what might be coming. I want an Ephraim! Don't we all?
Yeah.
Ephraim. Sorry. 2 pronunciations, depending on your region.
Yeah, it depends on where you're from.
Yeah.
I thought about the eggs that were left in there during the refit too, but they're tiny, right? Maybe.
Yeah, well.
I like that Ian is predicting that the tardigrade Teddy is a sign of what might be coming.
Oh, plushies. Plushies better be coming, man.
Maybe like costumes.
Even better.
Tardigrade costumes.
That would be difficult.
Like a furry thing? No.
Just, let's.
We are.
Why did you take it there?
Moving on. Brandon Shea Matala says, these were really cute and a whole lot of fun. One of my daughters hasn't liked Star Trek at all, but she loved these and we watched them as a family. Aww. I'm really hoping that the new animated Treks will be a gateway for me to share my fandom with my daughter. I love that.
Yes, absolutely. Stephen Savoy says, the girl who made the stars managed to capture the attention of my 16 stepchild, I'm going to guess 16-year-old, stepchild who emphatically wants nothing to do with Trek or really anything to do with sci-fi that I watch. Ephraim and Dot was a wonderful love letter to Star Trek. Any canon breaches, gasp, were irrelevant to me. This was basically an Easter egg hunt of an episode and everything was for reference only, in my humble opinion. Just seeing the classic Connie refit on screen again was more than enough for me.
Thanks for your comment, Stephen. I think you might be a first-time commenter too, but I'm not sure.
I think so.
But I'll still sing first-time commenter.
I'll just go,
That's the punctuation.
Yep.
So I didn't know what Connie refit meant at first. I had to look it up because it's Constitution class, right?
Yeah, Constitution class.
For Constitution, yeah. Thanks for your comment, Stephen. Christopher Mock says, my toddler loved E&D. Where can I get one of those plush tardigrades? Everybody wants them. They're flying off the shelves.
Keep your eyes open.
Justin Ozer said that you can get them on Amazon.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Can we pause for a moment while I go to Amazon? I'm just kidding.
I was going to pause.
It can wait.
I did look it up on Amazon, and it looks like they have several different versions of it, too.
Oh, wow.
But they're going to be on the StarTrek.com website. So.
Of course. At Star Trek shop, they'll have them on the CBS shop. They'll have them everywhere.
I'm surprised they didn't have them the next day, like they did when we first saw the disco shirts during season 1 of Discovery. They were out the next day.
They were. They literally were.
I think you bought one right away.
I did. And I
did too.
That one got a hole in it, and then I had to buy a second one, which has weathered the storm very well. So
yeah,
that one's still in rotation for going out of the house. The one with the hole in it is for staying in the house.
Oh, I love those shirts. Mm-hmm. You retire them, right? After a while.
Well, basically, they get retired to pajamas.
Right.
Or lounge clothing.
Or like walking the dog clothes for me.
Yeah, I don't have a dog, and the cat refuses to be walked, so it's just going to be loungewear in this house. And cats don't like being walked.
I have a friend that walked his cat on a leash.
No, well, some cats will accept it, but very few. Like, we try to put him in a harness, and he is, he has a meltdown, basically. So, we just don't do that anymore. Anyway, enough about my cat. Duncan Barrett says, loved E&D, cute animation, brilliantly directed by Michael G. I enjoyed the whistle-stop tour of TOS, especially using the old audio with the new animation. Yes! Leo, which is his toddler son, loved it too. He already has a toy tardigrade I picked up at Destination Star Trek last year. His verdict, it was a good film. She was a good mummy. Can tardigrades really fly in space?
How cute is that?
It's so adorable.
I love that everyone's kids are like in on it, like into it.
Yes, that makes me very
That's so
happy.
Great. Yeah, we haven't really seen that with Star Trek.
Yeah, got to
Like,
indoctrinate
at that age.
young. Yeah.
Yeah. Billy Wells Logue says, absolutely loved Ephraim and Dot. I got a toddler that wants to watch it over and over at the moment. I had fun just trying to spot all the TOS Easter eggs. The Girl Who Made the Stars was just okay for me and won't make it into my top 5 of short treks. Thanks for your comment, Billy. I'm glad that your toddler likes it.
Yep.
Which one did you like more, Brandi?
I do not answer that question.
That's right. I forgot.
Bruce tried to trap me with that on live.
Oh, yeah. That's right. That's right.
So I don't like picking favorites as a general rule, and they're such different stories that it's difficult for me to choose one over the other because it's very difficult to compare them.
Yeah.
In that regard. So
you're so good. You're such a good fan for that, I think. I liked Ephraim and Dot better.
I think a lot of people did, but there are some people who like The Girl Who Made the Stars better. And see, that's the thing. Different strokes, different folks. So it's all good.
The more I watch The Girl Who Made the Stars, the more I like it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Chris Chaplin says, my 3-year-old daughter was entranced by The Girl Who Made the Stars. The art direction was reminiscent of stop motion. The message was perfect for young viewers. The final shot of the grown queen poised to slay the knight earned this short 4 out of 5 stars for me. Once again, a toddler. Loving it.
Yeah. You think they're going to do a Star Trek younger animated show? I bet they're testing that out.
Well, I thought there was one planned for Nickelodeon.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We haven't heard a lot about it in a while, but that's right.
Well, animation takes a really long time.
And then we're doing like a Dawson's Creek one. like a Dawson's Creek Star Trek for, I guess it's more like Riverdale type of, it's like the Riverdale people or something. They were talking about doing a Starfleet Academy show.
Okay. That's
you know you're going to watch it anyway, so.
Of course I'm going to watch it. It's just that I am an adult person who
You are?
Doesn't I'm done with that phase of my life, and I don't necessarily want to watch other people fumbling through their teenage years into young adulthood. I'm not saying that about everything. There are exceptions to the rule, but like I don't watch Riverdale because I just don't care.
I watched a little bit of it. I'm somewhere in the middle of season 1, but I stopped.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, it was on a plane too when I was watching it, and then I just never picked it back up.
Very telling.
Sabrina, I'll watch. Sabrina, I like.
Yeah, it's just not where I am right now.
Yeah, that's fair. Andrea Boot says, watched them both last night, and I have to say they were both amazing. I was expecting somewhat of a TAS, the animated series, homage through the animated short treks, but I'm glad they went off and did their own thing. Ephraim and Dot was a really cute story. Loved the little nods to TOS throughout it, including original dialogue. The Girl Who Made the Stars. First of all, baby Michael is adorable. I loved the idea of a creation myth being told to a young Burnham to comfort her during what looks like a particularly violent storm. Also, Michael has a plushy tardigrade. Nice homage to her future. I know what's going on my Christmas wish list. Yeah, flying off the shelves.
I'm sure. It's going to be hard to get them soon, I'll bet. Sold out for months. Back orders. Jason Myers says, "The Girl Who Made the Stars was a beautiful glimpse into young Michael's time as a child with her parents before the Klingons came. The simple myth showed how Michael learned from her father how to look within herself for courage to face the darkness, whatever that may be. Ephraim and Dot was the most cartoony cartoon since More Tribbles, More Troubles. However, I love the idea of Trek that is intentionally targeted to kids. Hook them up when they're young and they'll grow up to be enlightened fans. I was pleased to see the time frame this one was set in, although I'm not sure why Space Seed happened before the Naked Time. Mycelial time travel, perhaps? Not to worry too much. This was cute and sweet and provided some great nostalgia. I'd love to see a Trek movie in the Pixar vein." Yeah, the way that I look at that is that, tardigrades probably perceive time differently than humans do. I mean, I would say they definitely do.
Yeah.
And especially if you're jumping around in the mycelial network, there's time and space going on there.
Right.
So they could end up in before things and after things.
Yeah, I did think about that too, Jason. So I totally see where you're coming from. But I think that it's kind of established that the tardigrades experience time and space differently. Right.
Yeah.
But also the original series wasn't really clear about the order that it all happened in.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It was very episodic. There wasn't like an overarching story. And so maybe we were seeing something that happened later, and maybe we were seeing something that happened earlier. Because, I mean, Chekhov's hair changes quite a bit in some of those episodes from Davy Jones to not Davy Jones. And so, you know, it's like, oh, this is normal Chekhov's hair. Oh, and then the later episode, you got the terrible Davy Jones wig going on. So I just write it off to the fact where this could happen at any time during their 5-year mission.
Right, sure. I have to admit that when I first saw the little scene of Khan in the sick bay, I freaked out. I was like, "Oh my!" I did not know that they were going to do that. So I was so surprised, and it made me really giddy, like a little girl who made the stars.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking, "What are they doing? Wait, what is that?"
Yeah,
and then it was just me freaking out about all these stories.
And the way the animation style was different for the people than it was, some of it was more computer generated looking, some of it was more hand drawn looking. It was nice how they meshed all of those together.
Yes. Agree.
And I think a Pixar Trek movie would be awesome, Jason.
I'm on board. Absolutely on board with that. Let's do it.
Yeah. Well, Nicholas Paul Collinson says, "These both were so good. Ephraim and Dot was so cute. I really loved the framing device of the nature documentary. Turns out real tardigrades do lay eggs, so that was a cool touch. This was just really fun and silly, and I love that the idea that it's technically canon will really piss some people off." Yeah.
Yeah.
The Girl Who Made the Stars was just beautiful. I love the idea of an African creation story featuring so prominently in Star Trek. And I love the animation style and the story itself. I actually kind of hope that the aliens from that story feature in some way in the future. My money's on yes. They looked really cool, and I honestly kind of liked the ancient aliens angle of it. Wonder how Chrissy DeClercq-Zalagi feels about that aspect of it. Well, yeah, Chrissy is one of the hosts on The Line for Star Trek Picard, and she also was my first guest on Postcards for the Picard show, and she does a lot of studying and debunking the ancient aliens type of stuff on the TV shows. So I wonder what she thinks about that too.
I was just excited to see a non-humanoid alien.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Did it remind you of the Red Angel a little bit when it came out?
No. It didn't occur to me.
I know it has nothing to do with it, but I thought just because of the shape and the arms and everything.
Nah, never really occurred to me because it was just, it reminded me more of a jellyfish than anything.
Yeah. I liked the voice.
Yes. Convenient that it knew how to speak her language.
Right.
Sorry.
It sounded a lot like her dad, too.
I know, but it probably had a universal translator, is my guess, because space travel. Course. So it'd have a universal translator. And shout out to Kenrick Green for, coming back to do the voice of Michael's dad, Michael.
Michael's dad, Michael.
Yeah. Because, he played the live action version, obviously. All right. Duncan Barrett returns saying, I think E&D also offers possibly the best orchestration of Alexander Courageous theme in 50 plus years. Although I will defer to Christopher on that one. Okay, Christopher, what do you say?
Well, Duncan, I agree. Yeah, I thought the score was beautiful and I loved the themes. I think that it's probably the coolest that the original theme has ever sounded. Like, definitely the most imaginative orchestration of it.
It gave me goosebumps, actually.
I loved the music when Ephraim goes into the warp core, when she finally goes in there, and when it appears, and then when she goes through it, it's really gorgeous.
It's pretty. Just love it.
Yeah. Karen Chupla said, these just delighted me. They tapped into a joyous energy that was electric. The music for all the short treks, particularly this season, has been so good. I want a soundtrack as soon as possible. Me too, Karen.
Me three.
But the score for Ephraim and Dot was amazing. Sparkling, crisp, epic, and fresh, even while using all kinds of TOS music motifs and cues. E&D totally seemed to pay homage to all the early animation of last century with its high energy and mechanical sight gags, with a sweeping score and a charming, simple story. The Girl Who Made the Stars stole my heart, though. It was beautiful and sweet. It had a wonderful moral of the story and was so celebratory that it was like seeing a Christmas show for the first time as a kid. Wow, Karen. Plus, I feel like it added another layer to Michael's character. It clearly showed how close she was with her parents and underscores her losses even more, and how she was raised shows her origin and capacity for curiosity. I mean, these were really 10 out of 10 stars for me. I see what you did there, Karen, with the stars rating.
There's, the girl made them, so why not use them?
Well, technically, she just released them.
I know. But with their limited understanding of science, it must have seemed like she made them.
Right, sure.
Yeah. Paloma Bennett says, I love Ephraim and Dot. All the nods to TOS and TAS were cute. The cartoon reminded me of Tom and Jerry, and I enjoyed how the beginning reminded me of a 1950s nature documentary. Yes. My favorite scene was when the robot said, live long and prosper. The tardigrade babies are adorable. Yes, they are. I thought The Girl Who Made the Stars was a great feminist bedtime story, though the alien broke the prime directive. But of course, the alien was not part of Starfleet, from what I can tell. Exactly. I enjoyed seeing a young Michael Burnham learn about bravery.
Yeah, I also didn't think about the Tom and Jerry connection until I just rewatched it again with when they're going through the pipes and everything. That's so Tom and Jerry. And then when they're going through, then the laundry piles up on them, the different uniforms. Feminist bedtime story, too. That's cool.
I actually thought of Looney Tunes, especially with the pipes.
Oh, yeah.
So, but it's all that same time period of animation for kids.
Yeah.
So, because I'm a big Tom and Jerry fan, too.
And Paloma, I guess we really don't know if the alien was part of Starfleet. And if it was, it would be from the future. Although it is like a mythological story. So, interesting thought.
Yes, well, in any case, I think it was just an alien that had a problem and crash landed on the Earth and was repairing their ship. And, little girl.
Here's this.
Gee.
Go play with this.
Here's the thing. Go along. It's like giving her candy to send her away. She's like, right. Go home now. Thanks, bye.
Joshua DeVries says, all right, so the animation for both was wonderful. The Girl Who Made the Stars was probably my favorite, though I wonder what sort of alien being travels the galaxy with an egg that can casually bring the stars of the galaxy into being. Yeah. Perhaps it gave the humans the ability to see the stars that were already there. Ooh, interesting thought. It's a fairy tale, so I probably shouldn't read too much into it. Ephraim and Dot was mega cute, and it was awesome to see the refit Enterprise again. Also, the narrator was Kirk Thatcher, who played the punk on the bus in Star Trek IV, so that was a great callback. Also, it's a cartoon, so I shouldn't read too much into it, but I find it difficult to believe that the tardigrade egg survived the refit undiscovered, especially since the refit warp core was vertical. Oh, that's a good point, Joshua. But I'll just ignore that since this was obviously a more abstract story that covers a long period of time. Overall, they were fun, though.
Indeed.
Thanks, Joshua.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we're all reading too much into it.
Yeah, I honestly think, well, I'll discuss that later.
Okay.
I'll tell you later what I honestly think when we get to questions and concerns.
Oh, yeah.
So, Patrick Carlin, hi, Patrick, says this. Both of them were great, but I liked Ephraim and Dot more, largely due to all the TOS Easter eggs scattered throughout it. I live for that kind of stuff. And Dot saying, live long and prosper with the hand sign cracked me up. Yeah,
that was so funny. That was like a little bit of Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote action going on too.
A little bit, yeah.
And they totally like anthropomorphized the Dot. You know, they made it more, had a personality, and it wasn't just a robot. You know, there was a personality there, and there was a lot of comedy in that.
Mm-hmm. The frustration. The frustration that you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah, just trying to do its job, but worked on the original and the refit. So then that now we know that they were in all of the. Perhaps they're even on the D as well.
We can
and the E.
certainly postulate that.
Yeah,
maybe all Starfleet ships have dots.
Maybe. Well, Bryan Meloche says, as far as The Girl Who Made the Stars, I loved it. I loved they used Kenneth Green, who played Michael's father in Season 2, Episode 11, Perpetual Infinity, and is Soneqa's real-life hubby. Yes, and you'll have to forgive me if I don't reference the whole husband is her father thing, smiley face. Yeah, we just don't talk about that.
It's called being an actor.
It's called being an actor, and, you know, yeah, I'm glad that he got a gig on Star Trek. Mm-hmm. I also think it's kind of nice. Like, I think it's kind of sweet.
It is.
Yeah. I think the grown-up version of the girl looked like Soneqa, so I appreciated it. It was a cute story. Beautiful. So is E&D. And an experiment, but filler. In the end, I loved it, but a small L love, and not a LOVE, all caps, because it didn't really add much. I don't think you really miss much if you were to miss this one. One other thing I noticed on second watch was that Mike Burnham is wearing a Section 31 badge on his chest.
Well, yeah, because they worked for Section 31.
Yeah. I like that you just small L love it and not all caps love it.
I love it, but I don't love it.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I should have done. That should have been my reading of it. Thank you for the line reading.
You know, I'm just giving you notes.
Okay, I'll take them. It's fine.
No, it's your show. I'm not giving you notes. It's an acting thing, guys. Anyway.
Yeah.
Janessa Quijada says, dude, I need one of those plushy tardigrades with a light-up antenna in my life. Stat! I loved the story and animation, Ephraim and Dot, but I loved the music more. I mean, duh, it's Michael Giacchino. Did I say that right?
I think so, yeah, Giacchino.
Okay, and he was so clearly having a lot of fun with his nod to TOS, especially the Amok Time fight music. Yes! Yes, I agree. As for the story itself, it was GD adorable. It was all like, stop being mean to Mama Tardigrade while I was watching it. And then I was in a puddle of awe at the end. I'm very curious if The Girl Who Made the Stars is based on any specific African folklore or tradition. Even if not, I see it as a metaphor for Michael's life and wonder if she'll be bringing the stars, in quotes, back to a decimated Federation in the far future. What most impressed me about that short, though, was all the CGI textures. It's not Pixar Disney level, but still gorgeous to look at. Speaking of Pixar, my favorite Pixar film is Wall-E, and Ephraim and Dot kind of reminded me of its companion short, Bernie.
Do you know Bernie?
Agree. I thought the same thing. I do.
I don't know that one.
Well, I guess you're just going to have to find it and watch it.
I'm going to have to find it. I bet it's on Disney Plus.
I was just going to say, I would bet you money that it's on Disney Plus.
I'll add that to my watch list for the break.
Yeah.
I love Janessa's comments. She always like comes up with these really cool ideas. Like it's a metaphor for Michael's life and wondering if she'll be bringing the stars back to a decimated Federation, because in the season 3 Discovery trailer, there are fewer stars on the flag, you know? Mm-hmm. I bet that's exactly what they're doing. Mm. And Joshua DeVries replied to Janessa saying, I have a collection of African folk tales, and that story is actually in there. It says it's from the San people of Southern Africa. And I did a little Googling, and it's, you know, it's the same story basically that Michael's talking about at the very beginning of season 2 of Discovery. Aww. When they show like the Cassini mission, and she says space, the final frontier, around us, above us, within us, or something like that.
Yes.
And she tells a version of that girl who made the stars story, which is from the Kaamabathwa tribe, which I looked up and I think is very similar or the same as the San people of Southern Africa, the Kaamabathwa. And it's like the story that they're telling in The Girl Who Made the Stars is another telling of that story. You know, obviously, I don't think they were talking about aliens at the time, but, you know,
No.
Stories, mythological stories and mythos and everything evolves over time, you know?
Yeah, well, and all of those things tend to go back to one actual factual thing that happened that gets interpreted in different ways as you go along.
Yeah.
So, but that's okay, because that's what legends are made of. And legends always seem to have a grain of truth, but they're just more fun to tell with these extravagant things that get put in over the years. So,
yeah, but that happens with other things too, like couples or like families tell stories, and each time they tell it, it gets a little bit different, right? Or it gets a little bit more embellished. You know, it's just kind of, we like stories.
We do like stories. Stories bring us together.
It's really why we're here today, because we like to hear Star Trek stories.
Yes, we do. That's exactly right. What an excellent tangent.
We're so dorky. Oh my God.
We're adorkable is what we are. We are the most
totally
adorkable.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to the questions and concerns, because there's a big one. There's a big one that we're all thinking about right now. It's on all of our minds. Go take it, Brandi.
Yeah, and this is what I'm going to say something about this too.
Is this what you were going to say earlier?
Yes. Brennan Shamatella says, did anyone else cry when the 1701A was destroyed in Star Trek 3? I just wrote a short trek about Benjamin Sisko, first officer of the Reliant, and the Borg battle at Dog 329. Close enough. Yes, we know what you were doing.
Yeah. So, yeah. What were you going to say?
No, say the next one, and then I will say what I'm going to say.
Okay. So another comment from Brian Meloche. I thought Ephraim and Dot was spectacular. I loved every reference. I loved the music, the tone, everything about it, except there were continuity gaffes. I consider the nacelle struts, angled as in Discovery, a retcon at this point. So while I would have appreciated them making them look like they did in TOS, I can look past that one. I love these canon police moments. It's so great. Mm-hmm. He continues, we don't actually know chronologically when the episodes of TOS happen in real TOS time, so if any of the references are out of order, I'm okay with that. The one major continuity gaffe that I couldn't dismiss was the refit Enterprise. That ship is still the NCC 1701. No bloody A, B, C, or D. Sorry, a Scotty Relics TNG reference I couldn't resist.
I do that every time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Bryan says, the ship that Kirk sets to self-destruct that crashes in Star Trek 3 is the NCC 1701. We finally see the NCC 1701A at the end of Star Trek 4. That's the one thing that took away from this short trek. It's so simple to fix. They are just giving the haters easy ammunition. Seriously, CBS, or Viacom CBS now, I guess. Hire me. I have a photographic memory, especially for Trek, and I can absolutely guarantee that there would not be a single continuity mistake on my watch. It almost makes me wonder if the mistake was intentional just to get us to talk.
And that's where I'm going to say I think it absolutely was intentional. And I think
No way.
I think someone is having a great big laugh watching all of the haters come out of the woodwork.
Just like purposefully make a huge glaring error to just get people.
I'm not saying that they purposely made a huge error. The error may have been an accident, but they purposely left it.
Yeah, because 1 million people watch it before it goes out. I mean, there's got to be people that caught that before it was released.
Yeah, there's absolutely no way that they didn't know that was in there. There's no way that they could not have known. So they purposely let that go.
Okay, do you think they purposefully left it in, assuming that that's true? Do you think that they left it in because they wanted to piss people off and get people talking? They're like, oh, we made a mistake, but this will get them all riled up. A. B, it's too expensive and too late to go back and fix it now.
It may be more of B, but I also think that some people at CBS are having a great time watching all the meltdowns.
Oh, yeah.
I really think they are.
Yeah. I'm sure. Because they're like, what are you going to do about it? We're still in charge of Star Trek, you know? We're still making Star Trek.
It's one of those things that I didn't even notice the first 2 times that I watched it. And then the third time I'm like, wait a minute. However, I will say this, not apropos of anything except for something in Brandon's comment. I do cry when in Star Trek 3, when the Enterprise gets destroyed every single time.
Yeah.
Every single time. It just kills me.
It's a pretty, the explosions happen so many times. That it's just like, it's like a dagger to the heart, you know? Mm-hmm. It's sad. It's really sad.
It really hurts me. It hurts me, right?
Yeah.
In my heart. And the same thing happens every time Spock dies in Wrath of Khan.
Oh, yeah.
And, there are just moments that just always make me cry. They haven't lost their potency in, 30 years. And still just make me have those feelings because I am just a sap and proud of it.
Yeah, you are. I like that you're like that.
Well, I can't help it, so I might as well own it.
Yeah. I'm a sensitive boy too, so I get it.
The world needs people like us. It's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Do you cry also when the A appears at the end of Voyage Home?
Oh, you don't even know. It's all the happy tears.
Yeah.
All the happy tears. In Star Trek 4, it's after the whales communicate with the probe and the probe goes away and all the lights come back on and everybody's cheering. And that's that point for me there. I don't have one of those moments in Star Trek 5.
Oh, you don't?
Mm-mm.
Really? Mm-mm. Okay. What does God need with the starship?
Yeah, I don't have a crying moment in Star Trek 5. So
I don't know that I have a crying moment in that one.
Yeah.
I'd have to watch it again and get back to you.
There are crying moments in all of them except for Star Trek 5.
And Undiscovered Country?
Oh, there's a lot in Undiscovered Country.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember seeing that in the theater with my family and I was just like a mess through a lot of it.
Yeah, it's a great one.
It really, really is. It's magnificent. Love the soundtrack too.
Yeah. I just set my DVR to record all the Star Trek films now so that I can just have them saved on my DVR anytime. So I can go back and just, sometimes, you just watch like 20 or 30 minutes of it. And then, do you ever do that?
Yeah. I actually have them all on Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, of course. Of course you do.
And I will put them on, like if I need to work on something that I can be distracted by a movie part of the time, like say I'm crocheting or something like that, then I will put on a movie and just, that's my amount of crochet time. It's like, okay, this movie is X minutes long. I have this long to work on this project.
Hey, are you crocheting something right now, currently?
Not right this second, but yes, I'm looking at something that one thing has been completed and the second thing is being crocheted. Yes.
What could it possibly be?
I don't know. It might be a hat and scarf.
Oh yeah. For somebody special?
Nah. No, I just do this for people I hate.
It's for me, listeners. It's for me. I have no idea what it looks like.
I'm going to show you.
Brandi just asked me what colors I like, and I told her.
Well, I showed you the yarn to see if you
that's right.
yarn.
Oh, yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
So I thought, well, I have this already, so I'm just going to go with this. Because I have a lot of yarn, folks. A lot of yarn. Waiting for projects.
Well, as much as we like talking about yarn on this podcast.
We're telling a yarn here. Spinning a yarn.
Oh.
Okay, so one. Sorry. No, it was terrible.
Yeah. No, it's good. I love it. Are you kidding? I love that stuff. But we are going to move on to your last words now, listeners.
Yes. Okay, Justin Ozer. Hi, Justin.
Hi, Justin.
He says, Ephraim and Dot was one of the most delightful and amazing things I've ever seen. So much fun and adventure in an incredible range of emotions in such a short time. Plus, all the TOS Easter eggs were fantastic. Is this the first time we're seeing the Enterprise refit on screen since Star Trek 3? I think so.
Yes.
The Girl Who Made the Stars was an absolutely beautiful and moving episode with a great story that's wonderfully told. I do think the story isn't meant to be taken literally, that an alien being provided the material that made the stars. Instead, I think it's a story meant to inspire the listener to manifest the beauty inside themselves to the outside world.
That is so nice, Justin.
Yes.
Manifest the beauty inside yourselves, everybody.
Yeah, do that. Because we all have beauty.
Yes.
Maybe not outside, but inside we do.
Oh, man. Whoa.
Oh, edit that out.
Wow. I'm totally not going to.
I know you're not. I know you're absolutely going to leave that in.
Heather Murray says, on Ephraim and Dot, I was struck by the animation and coloring in this short. It reminded me of any cartoon I grew up watching, also reminiscent of the Brave Little Toaster at some points.
Yeah.
The Looney Tunes style of there you go, Brandi. The Looney Tunes animation style with Ephraim escaping the pile of clothes and clunking through the pipes just helped me fall further in love. The insertion into TOS was brilliant. It just showed you this alternate story going on through the viewpoint of the tardigrade and the Dot, who were totally unconcerned about what was going on in their background. Lastly, baby tardigrades, really giving Baby Yoda a run for the money. So precious. I'm so glad all of this exists.
Agree.
So we're back to The Mandalorian now.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, spoilers. Yeah, again.
Oops.
Sorry.
I will say that I had that moment in Ephraim and Dot, and I didn't talk about this on live, where, the Enterprise blows up and she is just seeing it happen and thinks all her babies are dead.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, my heart. Oh, my heart. I was just like hurting. And I'm like, don't cry. Oh, go ahead and cry. It's fine. Go ahead and cry.
Did you cry?
I did.
I did
cry a little bit, yeah.
Aw.
Because it was just one of those things where I'm just like, but she just worked so hard to find a place to have those babies, and now she thinks they're dead. And I was certain that they weren't.
Right.
But still in that moment, it just really, it hurt my heart.
So then did you cry again when the Dot showed her that he saved the babies and they hatched into baby tardigrades?
Little bit.
Little bit, yeah.
Little bit.
Did you cry in Girl Who Made the Stars?
No, I just felt joyous about that.
Yeah.
It made me very happy. It was very feminist, as some comments have previously said. And I just,
yeah.
It made me feel happy that they were telling such a story in Trek.
Mike Burnham is a good dad to little Michael, too.
Extremely good dad.
Yeah, he seems very nurturing.
Definitely. And doesn't discount anything that Michael's feeling.
Oh, yeah. He lets her discover her strengths and what the story really means all on her own.
Exactly. Very good dad.
Yeah. It's mom that's the tough one.
Yeah.
Dad's the softie, mom's the tough one.
Isn't that usually how it is?
Sometimes. Yeah.
It
depends.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends.
I mean, I do think the women are stronger than men. They are definitely the stronger of the species for sure.
Yeah. There are people who will take issue with that, but
I'm sure they will. And I really don't care.
Yeah. I personally agree with you, but
yeah,
I'm a woman. Okay.
Yeah, you're all woman, Brandi.
Yeah, I am. I'm all woman. as far as I know. That raises some questions. Okay. Chris Hill says, I absolutely loved Ephraim and Dot. It took me down memory lane from when my dad, sister, and I would watch Star Trek, to me rewatching it while I was in classes for the military, to watching it again after a rough day during deployments, to helping keep me awake while in support of training exercises, to watching it now. When the Enterprise went crashing into the Genesis planet, I said, goodbye, old friend. Oh.
Here she goes. It's happening. It's happening. I know.
Dang it, I should have read this first so that I would be prepared.
I purposefully gave you this comment to read.
Oh, you.
Oh, man.
It's okay, I'm fine. Oh, sorry. Whew. Okay. Just one more second. Okay.
Got her again.
Yeah. You T-boned me with that one.
Oh, yeah.
You hit me sideways. Okay. I think this one is my favorite of them, and it's mostly nostalgia, but that's quite all right. Now, as for The Girl Who Made the Stars, it was fun and cute as well, but I didn't have the same connection as I did to E&D. It's always interesting to see other origin stories for what we see, and this is an example of that. It does have a cool message with it, and that is inherently Star Trek.
Agreed.
Yes, quite so.
I think there were moments in The Girl Who Made the Stars where it felt like it was out of Star Trek just because we were in this different place, but it still was so Star Trek, you know?
Yes.
It was a different kind of setting for a Star Trek story, but the message was totally Trek. Totally Trek. Totally Trek with Chris and Brandi.
Yeah, totally. That's the name of our new podcast.
It's totally Trek.
But yeah, I agree with that, because that's the thing, is the Star Trek universe has so many possibilities and so many ways to tell stories that they can do something like this, and it still resonates very, very strongly. So, kudos.
Yeah. There's something for the parents, there's something for the kids, you know, there's something for everybody.
That's the best kind of animation, is when it may be aimed at children and yet it has enough maturity to capture an adult's imagination as well.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better than myself. Wait, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Are you saying I'm an extension of you? Because, okay.
Oh, geez. You know what? I did have an issue with one thing in The Girl Who Made the Stars, was when the elder said, you could have been, he tells her, you could have been eaten, or worse. What's worse than being eaten? Like, what's worse than that? That's the worst thing. That's
tortured.
I think being eaten is worse than being tortured.
I think tortured is worse because you're still alive and in pain, and you just want to die, but they won't let you.
Okay, but what if you're being eaten and then you're kind of like chewed up a little bit, but you're not dead, you're still conscious, and you get swallowed, and then you're like being, that could be really painful. Being digested and partially alive still.
Yeah, you'd probably die of asphyxiation long before you started to feel the digestive juices working.
Maybe.
If you're human.
Well, kids, I hope you liked this story about a children's story, an animated children's story. Gosh, I hope that everyone who started listening is still listening, but I'm thinking they might not be at this point.
Yeah, they probably tuned out halfway through. It's my fault.
Happy holidays, listeners.
Yep.
Well, Brandi, how do you think the fans responded to these episodes?
I think that it was a very positive reaction. There were the things that bothered probably most of us on a variety of levels, but overall, very, very positive and complimentary.
Yeah. And which one was your favorite?
Stop it. You're not going to get that out of me. No.
I respect your principles.
Thank you.
Listeners, be sure to check out our Discovery and Short Treks coverage, Live from the Edge, where you can chat and ask questions with Brandi and Bruce live, happens on YouTube after each new Discovery episode airs. It is released as a podcast the next day. Our commentary will be available as Tracks from the Edge with Mike and Max, and of course, you can catch full analysis on the Edge main show. You'll find all of these in the main feed for the Edge and in the Trek FM master feed. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Discovery, and the best place to do that is the Babel Conference, our listeners group on Facebook, where I will collect your feedback for postcards. You can also find us on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter. I'm not even editing that out. You can find us on Twitter at TrekFM or send us an email using the contact form on our website at trek.fm/contact. Choose to send to a show and select the Edge. Well, Brandi, thanks for coming back again and talking short treks with me and reading the listener comments.
It was my pleasure, except for you tricking me into crying.
And which was your favorite episode again?
I do not rate the episodes as favorites, so I loved them both in different ways for different reasons, and therefore do not put one above the other.
Again, I respect that, and I hope that you don't feel like I was manipulating you by making you cry.
No, I really don't think that.
I don't want anyone to be worried that I was doing that to you.
Oh, no, absolutely not. I was teasing when I said that you tricked me into it because you know me very well and you know how I will react to things. And I never am upset by crying. I may seem upset while I'm crying because I am upset in a way to, be crying. And being upset doesn't necessarily mean that's a bad thing. It just means that I'm not at my normal, quote unquote, stable level.
Whatever that means.
I'm either above or below.
Yeah.
Yeah, stable for me. It's all relative. So, no, I'm not upset with you, and I don't want anyone to think that you were trying to be mean in any way, shape, or form.
You've made me cry too, though, just not on the podcasts, like in private. Sometimes you say sweet things that make me cry.
Okay, for a minute there, I was afraid he was going to say she is a tyrant and she is so mean. I wasn't really afraid of that.
No, you're wonderful, and you're such a compassionate and like really bright, no nonsense person, and you're very caring. And I'm really glad that we could do this again together. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's really my pleasure because I have the best time talking to you. Yeah. Just in my personal life, and getting to do it on a podcast is like the best present that I could have on the first day of my wonderful winter vacation. I
know. Well, I appreciate you taking some time this evening to do that.
Always for you. I'll always take time to podcast with you, man. Always.
And Brandi, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you online?
Okay. Well, you already heard about Live from the Edge, so keep an eye out for that. We're still not sure when new Discovery episodes are going to be dropping.
Oh, Sonequa Martin Green said she thinks it's early 2020.
Well, okay, but they're not going to do it while Picard's running, so...
I bet it's going to come out the week right after the last episode of Picard Season 1. I bet it's going to come right out.
I wish they'd give us a week. Just give us a week off. No, not like it's a hardship. It's not a hardship to watch Trek. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. She's a tease, that Sonequa.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll be back when that starts happening again. And you can find me on Twitter at Brandywine12. That's Brandi with an I, and 12 is a number. And keep an eye on that Twitter account from time to time, because there are some things in development that are going on that we're hoping to bring to you. So keep an eye out. And
I'm intrigued.
Juicy danglers. So, that's a very British saying. I picked that up from one of my British friends.
I am not going to comment on that.
Yeah, it sounds really dirty, but what it means is, it's a cliffhanger sort of thing. You're teasing about something. So, people in Britain know what I mean. And you can find me lurking in the Babel Conference, although I haven't been there as much lately because there have been many busy things going on in the lead up to the holiday season. But I promise that I do keep an eye on that and comment when and where I can. Also, can't forget the wonderful husband that I have named Dave.
Yes.
He and I do a podcast called The Dark Corner Podcast, which you can find at darkcornerpodcast.com. And we talk about all of the nerdy things we like with sort of a darker point of view. And by darker, I don't mean evil. Get that out of your heads right now.
Well,
Oh, hey, come on.
maybe like a baby toe in the dark pool.
Well, dark and evil are not the same thing.
This is true.
So anyway, we have a lot of fun with that. We are going to do a Christmas commentary for our next episode. And I'm pretty sure I have talked Dave into the thing we're going to do. We'll see.
Oh, I'm excited.
Really, that's all.
Well, Brandi, I hope you don't need to sleep with your nightlight anymore. And I just want to say good night, my queen.
Oh, my heart.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CD Littlefield and also lurking in the Babel Conference. If you'd like to help us keep all of our shows going and even become an associate producer, visit patreon.com/trekfm for all the details. I would like to thank our associate producers, Norman C. Lau, Tony Robinson, Thomas Puleo, Lisa Slack, Shoaib Mirza, Richard Rutledge, James Muldrow, Cornelia Reutner, Ryan Maillet, Chris Tribuzio, Bryan Meloche. Thank you for supporting Trek FM and especially The Edge. Join us very soon for another episode of Postcards from the Edge right after the next short Trek's Children of Mars is released. You know what, though? It might be a Postcards on the line because it's a Picard tie-in. So I don't know. Join us for Postcards from the Edge or on the line right after Children of Mars is released. Hailing frequencies open. Yay! First time commenter.
I'll just go,